Hello and welcome back. In this lesson, I'm going to begin actually animating the character. So we've got our reference here from the previous lesson, and we've got our bones set up now. And as you can see, I'll just zoom in a little bit with my middle mouse. As you can see, as I hover over the ends of the bones, I get this little angle here, so that allows me to rotate them. But if I click on a bone and select it, and I hover down here and click, I can move bones around. So I'll be doing some of that over the next couple of lessons, and we'll start building up this walk cycle. So I'm going to follow the reference just as a loose guide here placed beside me. Um, so let's just get the key poses in first. There are a few buttons here that I'm going to start clicking back and forth between. There's some display settings up here and a snap to frames option down here. So you can see if I turn this on, I'll be turning this on and off quite a bit, but you can see that this will constrain me to only the keyframes that are already in this animation, and it's getting those from the swapped images here that we've got in our reference. So that'll create a good handy guide for us because the reference image already has that. So I'm going to stick to these 100 millisecond increments to begin with, so that I'm not creating odd little frames all over the place. So let's take a look here. Another thing I'm going to do is I can turn on lock sprites. This means that I can only select bones, so I'm not accidentally going to select sprites and move them around. And I can also, you can see that, because I've got black and white graphics, you can see that I've also got black and white bones when I'm not using them. So if I turn off show bones and lock sprites, you can see that I've shown the sprites, unlocked the bones. But if I do want to move a bone, it just appears when I hover over it. So that's actually enough to work with. So I'm going to just begin now to pose the character. So I'm in my first frame here at 0 on my timeline, and in this lesson I'm really just going to work on blocking in the steps. So if I move or rotate a bone, it uses the forward kinematic system. So it'll rotate this knee here, but and it will bring the toe with it. So its child comes with it. But if I hold down Shift, I can also use inverse kinematics. And with the Spriter Essentials features, I can use inverse kinematics up to one bone up the hierarchy. So inverse in this case means that I'm the flow of control is moving backwards up the chain. So I'm going to just switch the snapping off there, and let's move my playhead up to here. To this. Actually, I'm not going to go all the way up there. I think I can skip ahead up to here where the leg is straight on 300 milliseconds. So I'm just going to block in some of these key poses. And again, I'm using my baseline here that you can see as a guide. So I'm just going to move the pelvis up and down on this on this section here. So if we look at how our animation's coming along, right? So we're yeah. Okay, so I'll go to 600 milliseconds, and I'm alternating between pressing Shift and releasing it. So if you see the hip rotate, that's a sign that I've got my I've got Shift turned on, because if I'm controlling the knee and the hip is moving, that means we're using inverse kinematics. Now look down here. The point at which the bone is controlling the toe has caused a bit of that sprite to move back through it. You can just move bones like that as well, and they'll. It's if you're used to 3D programs, you will probably have seen you'll probably have seen that you tend not to be able to like detach bones at will from their parents. In Spriter, it's okay. Um, so actually, I'm going to straighten that leg out a little bit. So I'm holding down shift for some of these, and I think I'll straighten this foot out too. So I'm holding down shift for that as well. And I'm trying to keep the front leg, the one that's nearest to us, on this baseline here. Okay. Okay, so we're getting some traction with the ground now. And on some of these frames, you'll notice that the feet are swinging below the baseline, but I'm not too worried about that now. I just want to kind of block in the main poses. Actually, that back leg needs to be straight. So I am trying to maintain our character walking on the spot here. And I'm using that central x-axis grid line as a guide. One thing I've found, and I've seen, I've collaborated with animators who've done this as well. One thing that I've noticed when using reference material, and this is obviously not coming from a live human, but you know, it's coming from 3D software. But if you're using like motion capture software, for instance, you know, or if you're using live video reference, you could spend ages just remapping the live movement to a character, using in all the software settings. You say copy these coordinates to my bones or something like that. And typically if you're using mocap, you end up cleaning up a lot of it. But if you're doing something, you know, cartoony and not, you know, realism is not a priority, I've seen just the best results come from just copying it, you know, because there's a kind of a will to exaggerate in animation. So I think it's you know, you'll tend to do that if you're not tracing. Okay, so okay, so I'm going to switch off the magnet and just see how this looks. Let's just press play. Okay, so not bad so far. We've kind of blocked in the main poses. We're dipping a little bit here, but one thing that we can do is just see if this works. I'm going to go back to my 0 frame and right click on my my pelvis bone and copy its X value to all frames. Which just has it bobbing up and down. So we just get the weight of the body on it, but it's not deviating from its position where it's walking on the spot. So in the next lesson, we'll concentrate on the rest of the body. So see you in the next lesson.